Thank you very much. Guess what? The other day, right? This is my look, and I'll be honest with you. This is my experience. I've been having a $600 credit limit for the past 8 years. This is my first. Last year during COVID was my first year where I called the bank and I said, "Can you increase my credit limit $2,400?" So right now, you know what they said? Mr. Familia immediately. You want to know why they said that? Can anybody tell me why you think they said immediately, no problem? Why do you think they said that? Why do you think? Why do you think they said, Mr. Familia, no problem. We'll increase that credit limit right away. Why do you think? Because, I'll mute your mic. Talk. Why do you think they said, Mr. Familia?
Yep, you're right.
Now, yeah, they're going to get interest, but now the thing that's interesting, right? They said that because my credit line is 755. My credit line is under 45 points. And that's what I'm trying to put you on to game now, how to save yourself from the slavery that they had. It's not about, slavery with slaves and stuff. No, it's not about, it's about slaves to the bank today. Today's about slaves to the bank. How to prevent yourself from becoming a slave to money. That's what I'm going to show you. So when I called them, I could call them today right now, hey, I need a credit limit of 10,000. You know why they're going to give me that? Because I have a track record of 8 years of never going over my credit limit. Never in my life have I gone over my credit limit. I use my credit card as an indication to let the banks know, hey, I'm not done. That's what I'm really telling them. I'm really letting them know. Because when they look at your name, Makai Brown, they look at Leo Familia, they look at Ace's name, they're like, oh, nah, I don't think he's capable of holding money. Look at his name. Sometimes banks do that as well too, just putting you on. So now that we've seen the credit line, right? Can they put a 1 in the chat if you understand what credit is as defined? Put a 1 in the chat if you understand what credit is so far. Put a 1 in the chat if you understand what credit is so far. Good. So now we're going to continue, right? Why is credit important? Why do people sit up here and constantly throw credit in your, make sure your credit is good, make sure your credit excels at, make sure credit, to make sure that your credit is on point? Why do you think people tell you that? Why do you think anybody could unmute their mic and speak? Why do you think people tell you, make sure your credit is always on point?
It's because, using credit is meant for buying the bigger purchases, like a house or a car or something like that.
Good. And I like what Michael said as well, too, because it shows how consistent you are with your money. Yes, credit is built over time, not overnight. Can somebody read to me why is credit important? Somebody volunteer to read that for us, please. The gold letters in the chart, please.
I got you.
All right, thank you.
Credit represents you in the financial world. You want me to read everything?
Yeah, read everything for me.
Got you. Good credit is the key. Credit plays an important part in meeting your life goals. Building good credit can help you unlock the path to getting a car, starting your own business, and buying your own home.
Excellent. So see how you said, Gilbert, along with Mike, the reason why credit is important is because I can't stress it enough. It represents you. So when you go, hey, I heard Joseph talking about a car, right? Let's say you don't have money. What credit does is credit allows you to access money you don't have. That doesn't mean that because, you have your credit line is messed up, doesn't mean that it can get fixed. It's just the fact if I'm sitting up here like how Makai was saying about, I was using him as an example, if I sit up here and I'm a bank and you can't show me that you can give me $100 back, what makes you think I'm going to let you borrow $5,000? And this is how the banks look at you. They look at you through a different lens. They look at you how you spend your money. So the way that you spend your money to them is how you are. That's how they look at you. So you got to realize that sometimes you're not gonna. You're not gonna realize that. You're not gonna realize. I'm sorry about that. I'm so totally sorry. So you got to realize that a lot of times when you're that you're showing your credit line, it's important to make sure that you have it above 650 because our 650 is repairable. 500 is still repairable. You don't want nothing under 500. That's like the point of no return. Like you can't, you better find a friend that lets you borrow money so that you can take time so that you can allow yourself to catch up. Because if you have a credit line of something below 500, Lord help you, because that's extremely difficult to come back from. But credit plays an important role because it represents you and it also shows how consistent you work with your money. So now we're talking about a credit limit. How far can you go? How far can your limit go? Somebody read that for me, please. It's a volunteer. How far can your credit limit go? How far can it go?
I'll read it. Credit limit. This is the total amount you can borrow on revolving credit accounts like credit cards. The higher your credit score is, the more your credit limit will be. Your credit score is at 800 and the credit limit really wouldn't place on you. The lower your credit card score is, the more credit limit will be placed on you. Your credit score is a 500, the credit limit will most likely be 1,000.
Right.
Place credit limit on yourself? Absolutely. I would recommend you place a credit limit on yourself because it is one of the fastest ways to build credit.
Now, what I mean by that, right, the last sentence, place a credit limit on yourself because this is one of the fastest ways to build credit. Can anybody explain that to me? What do you think I mean by that? What do you think I'm, like, you place a credit limit. What do you think I'm saying? Like if a bank says, hey, place a credit limit on yourself, what do you think that means?
To like limit how much you are able to spend because it'll give you a better chance so you don't like OD. Like if you have a $1,000 limit, you'll be like, oh, I got all this money to play with, might as well spend as much as I can. They trust me with the money. But then if you give yourself a limit of like 500, 600, it's more understandable and easier to pay back. And then be like, oh, he's responsible, he's limiting his purchase amounts, and he can pay it back.
Excellent, yes. So you're great, yeah. Great explanation. You have to also understand that you place a limit on yourself, right? The good thing is if you go over the $1,000, first and foremost, that hurts your credit. When you go over the number that they give you a limit on. Yes, that's also how you build your credit. So if I got a $600 credit limit, right, and I sit up here and I buy my friends food and they give me, I'm telling you, you know what I used to do? I used to tell my friends, whatever you spend at McDonald's or whatever, like, sneakers, give me the cash and I'll buy it with my credit card. And guess what? I'll swipe my card, they'll give me the money, I'll put it in the bank, pay it off already before the due date, and guess what? My credit card's on zero. And I still got that $600 credit limit. You know how long I've been doing that for? 4 years. And my credit score, first and foremost, you start off with a credit score, yes, based upon, you start off with a credit score based upon what you, you start off with a bank account. They give you a bank account first. Once that bank account is there, they see how you spend your money first and whether or not you've been borrowing money or whatnot. So your credit limit and your credit score and your credit line, it depends on you as the person already what you've done. So think about it. If I come into WHSAD, right, I'm a transfer student or I'm just a new student, they're going to assess me based on how I can read, how I can do math, how I can do science. It's the same thing in the bank. They're going to assess how you spend, how you budget, how you invest, what you've been doing with yourself. So the bank is very similar to a school. It's just the language is completely different. Does anybody have any questions or concerns so far? Anybody feel lost? You can be honest, unmute your mic. You can sit up there and talk. And, because we're here to help each other to a T. I'm not going to let nobody in this room fail when it comes down to money, understanding money. So please don't hesitate. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? All right, good. So far your credit limit is important because remember that limit is the one that's gonna literally save you from overspending. You have a $600 credit limit. Even if you go over $100 and $700, you still can pay that off. The bad thing about it is when you go over, when you spend your credit, you spend your credit card, is that it can damage your credit very, very fast. Because it's like, we already gave you a limit, and now you're going over. That's like one of your friends coming to you after he borrowed $20 from you. He's like, yo, bro, can I borrow another 20? Like, you wouldn't even give me back the 20, but yeah, you going over? And banks are like, okay, We'll let you have the money, but now we're damaging your credit.